comment,
and subscribe for more content.
Where's the notification bell?
It's to the right of you.
Oh.
What's up, guys? Welcome to this edition of a Funko Podcast. I am DK Wrestler.
And I am MD Shady.
And in today's podcast, we got a decent selection of Funko Pops, considering that this past week's Funko Pop announcements is basically 1 week removed from the Funko Ween reveals. So I was expecting there to be little to no announcements this week, but I'm glad that there was a decent amount so that we can do this podcast. But anyways, we are going to talk about this past week's Funko Pop announcements that range from June 1st to June 4th. We also will have the return of our segment, What's the Haps, for the first time in basically a month, because it's been a while since we've done that segment. And then to end off the podcast, we will have some SDCC exclusive predictions, which I know there was a video this past week, but I'll explain more of why we're doing this basically kind of again. So without further ado, let's kick off with our segment of What's the Haps, which those new to the podcast, it's just basically talking about what we've been doing this past week, whether it's watching television series or movies or anything that we may have been doing this past week, which we'll start off with. MD, what's the haps with you? I know that ever since the last time we did What's the Haps, golfing's been lifted again, so you've been able to golf again.
Yes, I have been golfing a lot. The first, let's say, 2 weeks since golfing has come back to Ontario, I guess as we'll say, I went straight for the first 11 days. Every day I went golfing, and then since then it's kind of tapered off a bit, but I've still been golfing almost every day, or not every day, almost every other day. I'm really enjoying it. I just got back from golfing today as well. Besides that, I actually have not touched a video game at all in quite some time. I don't know what it is. I just haven't really had the time to play video games, I guess, which is kind of unfortunate, but at the same time, it's kind of nice to be outside and not really just stuck inside all day. But when I have been inside, there have been a couple things that I've been watching. I've watched now the first 2 or 3 episodes of The Bad Batch. I finished The Mighty Ducks recently, the series on Disney Plus. That was pretty good. And I also watched everything that's out so far for, I believe it's called Big Shot. Also, I just binged almost all of Futurama within the past couple days. And besides that, I don't know, I went to the beach the other day. That was pretty fun.
Kicking off first, I actually watched the new Zack Snyder film on Netflix called Army of the Dead, which it was an all right movie. It's one of those movies where it's like, all right, I'll watch it once, but I don't know if I'll watch it again. I've actually found time to watch some NHL hockey. Been meaning to because it's playoff time, and I know I watched the Pittsburgh Penguins game against the New York Islanders where Pittsburgh got eliminated, and that continues my curse. So if anyone doesn't know about my curse, every time I watch hockey and it involves my favorite team, which is the Pittsburgh Penguins, always loses when I watch. So I've literally not watched hockey much because of the fact that it seems like every time I don't watch Pittsburgh Penguins, they win. So it's kind of an ongoing curse. And of course, I thought maybe it wouldn't count during the playoffs, but I guess it does. I have been watching, like you mentioned, The Bad Batch. That's been playing for I don't know how long now. And luckily, it's not going to be one of those Disney Plus series where they only have 6 episodes and then you got to wait like a year for the next one, or that's it because it's a mini series leading up to something. I think there's 16 episodes planned for Bad Batch. Speaking of Disney Plus, actually, and I'm really excited about this, is that tomorrow, as we're recording this, is the release of Loki on Disney Plus. So I will definitely be watching that at some point tomorrow. I have been shredding Sonic the Hedgehog. I have like a Sega Genesis Greatest Hits game for PS3, and it has 3 of the Sonic games, and I've been shredding that because this week we'll be recording our fandom-related podcast on Sonic the Hedgehog that releases in a couple weeks. A series that I've been trying to contain myself not to mention that I've seen this, but I kind of gave MD a hint through Messenger. I finally watched Superstore, and it is amazing. Funko, you need to make Funko Pops ASAP for this series. So great. Definitely, in my opinion, better than Parks and Rec. And some days I feel that Superstore ended up turning out as a better series than The Office. But some days I think, oh, maybe The Office is a little better. It's kind of hard, but the series is awesome. And little funny fact that I found out is Lauren Ash, who plays Dina, I found out that she actually is a Funko fanatic and she collects Funko Pops. I was looking at some of her interviews or whatever, and then like a suggested video was a video she did for one of the virtual cons, and she was showing off like she has like a Star Wars collection. And I'm like, man, this is so cool. She's a Funko fanatic. So I thought that was pretty cool, especially because Dina ended up being my favorite character in Superstore. Her and I think Garrett and Glenn. I enjoyed Superstar. There better be pops coming out soon. But yeah, that's it for What's the Haps. Before we talk about the June 2021 Funko Pop announcements for this week, are you looking for great pop protectors? Then look no further than popbox.ca. They have a variety of 4-inch and 6-inch protectors in different quantities. Do you want to get 10 protectors, 20? You can get even up to 250 pop protectors over on popbox.ca. And also use our promo code of Funko Popcast for 10% off of your entire purchase of pop protectors. The code is going on until supplies last. So go get your pop protector needs now over on popbox.ca using our code of Funko Popcast to get 10% off and also free shipping over $75 in both Canada and the US with duty fees included.
And let me tell you guys, we're not just screwing around here. These are some great pop protectors. We own a multitude of these protectors. They are some of the best I've seen. Stop buying from EB Games. I'm not boycotting EB Games by any means, but their pop protectors are not as good. So again, use code Funko Popcast for 10% off.
All right, so now we're going to talk about the June 2021 Funko Pop announcements, the first set of June 2021 Funko Pop announcements, which range from June 1st to June 4th. So kicking off, we got ourselves on June 1st, which was a Tuesday. Funko had announced new pops for the upcoming movie Space Jam: A New Legacy, which we have LeBron James and a Bugs Bunny 2-pack dressed up as Batman and Robin, which will be exclusive to Target. And we have the character of Dom, which has its own 1-in-6 chase, in which these are expected to release at some point this month. Then on June 2nd, Funko had announced an Iron Man Mark IV with gantry Pop Deluxe. This pop will be glow in the dark and exclusive to previews, and this is expected to release as early as July 2021. On that same day, Funko had announced an I Like to Buy the World a Coke can, part of the Pop Foodies lineup, which this is expected to be released also as early as July 2021. And then on that same day, Funko had confirmed on the Funko app of a Diamond Collection Blue Raspberry Sour Patch Kid that will be exclusive to It Sugar. And this pop is available now in stores, and I have not seen anything yet about online. Then on June 3rd, Funko had announced a new set of pops of retro Star Wars, which this set we have Stormtrooper, C-3PO, Luke Skywalker, and Darth Vader, which all these are exclusive to Target, and these are expected to release as early as August 2021. On that same day, Funko had announced the third of 7 Bounty Hunter Collection Pop Deluxe Pops, which will be exclusive to EB Games/GameStop, in which it is of IG-88, and this is expected to release as early as August 2021. On that same day, Funko had announced, I'm pretty sure it's the 4th of 6 Victory Shawarma Pop Deluxe Pops, which it is of Captain America, which of course, like the rest of the set, this will be exclusive to Amazon, and this will be expected to release also as early as August 2021. And then on that same day, Funko had confirmed on the Funko app of the 2 pops featured in May 2021's Marvel Collector's Core subscription box, which was themed Year of the Shield, which we have a Nomad Steve Rogers and a World War II Ultimates Captain America, which this was available through Amazon, but it currently, like all the boxes, are currently out of stock, but will be back in stock at a little bit of a higher price within the next month or two. Then on June 4th, Funko had announced a new pop of Pikachu. It is the Diamond Collection Waving Pikachu, which will be exclusive to EB Games/GameStop. We have Sir Daniel Fortesque from Medieval, which will also be exclusive to EB Games/GameStop. And then we have Sly Cooper, which will also be exclusive to EB Games/GameStop. And those 3 are expected to release on June 11th. On that same day, Funko continues more games pops as we have more pop game covers. First one we have here is Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which is expected to release on June 21st. And we have a pop game covers of Halo Combat Evolved, which is expected to release as early as October 2021. And the last pop we're going to talk about on this podcast is a new variant of Webley from the Everett Aqua Sox, which this is one of 5 giveaway pieces that will be given away during home games of the Everett Aqua Sox, in which these should be available at various games. So, kicking off with the Space Jam A New Legacy pops. These are okay. I actually just recently watched the recent trailer of Space Jam A New Legacy, and if I can be totally honest here, I am not excited for this movie after seeing that trailer. There's something about it where I'm looking at it and I'm already expecting it's going to be a bad movie, but hopefully they exceed the expectations with this movie. I mean, I'm still going to watch it because I'm not going to be one of those guys that's going to judge a movie and not watch it. These Funko Pops, I'm kind of curious on the whole Batman and Robin costume thing. I don't know if it's a Halloween thing or something along the lines of that, but that's okay. And the Dom I kind of knew about from, I think, the previous trailer before the trailer I seen. I feel the Chase is better, obviously, because he's wearing a Toon Squad jersey, and then the Goon Squad jersey is just, all black, and already underneath the basketball jersey, he's wearing like black clothes anyway. So it's just too much black that he's wearing. So the Toon Squad jersey kind of brings up the colors and brightness of this Funko Pop. The Iron Man Pop Deluxe. This is a pretty cool pop. I know a lot of people are super excited because this is a cool scene in Iron Man 2, and it's pretty cool that this is glow in the dark. I think it's one of those ones kind of like the Iron Man with the gauntlet that was previous exclusive. It didn't need to be glow in the dark, but they did it and it was still cool. Pop Foodie's Coke can. I'd like to buy the world a Coke can, as it's called. This is pretty unique, actually. We were actually discussing like 3 weeks back when we were talking about the cherry Coca-Cola. We thought the next one could have been like a Diet Coke or Coke Zero, but this is kind of unique, especially because it makes the can a little different. You have the little bird on there. The Coca-Cola lettering is in different colors. It's holding a globe. The arms are pink and the legs are actually 2 different colors. One is orange and one is yellow, which I actually realized that just now. This is pretty unique. I'm not going to like crap on this pop, even though I'm not really the biggest fan of foodies in general, but I think this is unique. The Diamond Collection Blue Raspberry Sour Patch Kid. This is cool, actually. This is how Diamond Collection should be done. And it definitely makes sense because they're adding kind of that sour speckle that's on the Sour Patch Kids. And I think these totally look way better than the normal Sour Patch Kids pops. And I think they will look better. The retro Star Wars pops. These are actually pretty cool. When I woke up the morning that these were announced, I was like looking at the picture, but I was like just waking up. So like 50% of my vision was like gone essentially. Like I couldn't really see clearly as I was waking up. And so I thought these were blacklight pops. So I was like, oh, Star Wars blacklight pops. And then I look at a retro and I'm like, all right, these are actually more cooler than blacklight in the sense of they're not pumping up the blacklight for all these different licensors. They have these retro comic book style looks, and I think it looks really cool. The Darth Vader looks wicked, especially with the way that they use the red eyes on here. And I think my favorite, though, is the Stormtrooper because it looks like I'm actually looking at some sort of comic book or like a movie cover or some sort of painting. There's a little mixed hype as terms to Luke Skywalker because the lightsaber is red, but I think it's pretty unique because how often do you see Luke Skywalker with a red lightsaber? C3PO is kind of like my least favorite, but it's not like, oh, this is horrible. But it's just out of all the ones, they're all good, but if I had to choose a least favorite, it'd be C3PO. Then the Bounty Hunter collection, the IG-88. This may be my least favorite of the 3 so far, and it's nothing against IG-88. It's just overall design already of IG-88 or IG-11, as we see in The Mandalorian. The Captain America Victory Shawarma Pop Deluxe. This is pretty cool. Probably the best along with Bruce Banner, mainly because they have the tables filled with food. So it totally makes sense. And I can't really crap on the other ones because they're trying to connect a table. Not everyone can have a huge table with a lot of food on it. But a lot of people are also wondering why there's no beard with this, because I'm pretty sure the story behind that is that when Chris Evans filmed this scene, he had a little bit of a beard because I think he was growing it out for a different film that he was doing. so he couldn't shave it, because throughout the movie I think he had like a clean shaving face, and then he had to like grow out to do an upcoming movie that he was filming, I think at the same time or just starting as the Avengers was ending. So you see him with like no beard, and all of a sudden he's got a little bit of a beard going on, but it's still cool. It's definitely, like I mentioned, one of the best of this set. The Marvel Collector's Core Captain America pops. These are pretty unique. I do like this World War II Ultimate Captain America pop. It's a pretty unique style of Captain America. I think definitely I would have put this on my top 10 list that I did earlier this year on Captain America for the 80th anniversary. So anyone who wants to go view that top 10 list that I did, little suggestion thingy above to view that video. Diamond Collection Pikachu. I mean, I'm not surprised they made a Diamond Collection Pikachu. I mean, I think it was super expected. And I'm going to kind of talk about the three pops, the Medieval, the Sly Cooper, and then the Pikachu all at the same time, because I have this weird theory. So when these were getting announced, I was very curious of why they were announcing so many games pops all at once, especially when three of them are going to be released, or ETA is going to be the same day. I thought that they were doing E3 2021 exclusives, considering that I think June 11th is actually the day that E3 starts virtually, but it's looking like now, because they're actually promoting them coming to GameStop, that instead of like last year where you have E3 exclusives, except you slap either a GameStop or an EB Game sticker on, it's looking like they're just canning E3 overall this year instead of doing that. The Pikachu, the one thing I do like about this pop is the fact they used a different Pikachu mold to do this Diamond Collection instead of using that original Target exclusive that they already done with the Flocked variant. Now going on to the PlayStation Pops. These are pretty cool. I like the character from Medieval. It's a very different head sculpt and a different style of a Funko Pop, and a lot of people are very hyped for this. And Sly Cooper is another character that a lot of people are very hyped for. I personally never played Sly Cooper as a kid, and I thought I did, so I searched it up, and it's like, I don't recognize this character, but I know a lot of people, like I mentioned, are super hyped for Sly Cooper, along with they are wanting Jackson Dexter around the same time that the pops for the last PlayStation wave with like Ratchet and Clank and all that were announced. People are wanting Sly Cooper, so it's cool that we finally get Sly Cooper. The pop game covers. Now, for Sonic, I'm not going to mention much because I feel like it's kind of pointless for me to go for my opinion on this when I know I'm going to be talking about this on the Sonic podcast that releases in 2 weeks. So there's no point for me personally to just repeat my opinion essentially within the span of 2 weeks. But what I will mention, though, I think this is great. And I'm glad that it's pop game covers number one, and that I'm glad that they actually chose the number two game as the cover. But then we got the Halo Master Chief game covers. We definitely called it last week. We were mentioning when we were talking about the Witcher pop game covers. What if they made a Halo game covers? What if they made Gears of War, maybe even Sonic, which 2 out of 3 of those ended up being correct. And it's funny how MD also mentioned about our homes possibly being chipped by Funko, because that may be the case. They may have chipped into our podcast last week too and found out, oh, I guess we're going to announce the Master Chief. And it's just perfect timing because we talked about this on the pod last week. And literally less than an hour after that podcast was released was when these pop game covers got announced. And I'm like, wow, this pop game covers is so sweet. I'm loving it. And I love the whole helmet for the original Master Chief. And I think it looks really cool. I'm kind of hoping, though, that it's more to the side a little bit so you can kind of see the logo of Halo Combat Evolved and what Master Chief looks like. But overall, I am glad that they ended up doing this cover. And I'm actually hoping that they make a game covers of Halo 2 because I remember that cover looking really cool. And then we got Webley from the Everett Aqua Sox, which anyone that's wondering, they may have seen this post and it says sold out on it. It's not that the pop is sold out. It's the fact that the giveaway prize was sold out for the home game because I think June 4th was the first home game for the Everett Aqua Sox. So they were saying like, all right, tickets are sold out. So unfortunately, if you don't have tickets, you won't have a chance to win any of these. And I guess it's cool that they announced actually, and they mentioned it on their Funko blog, that they are having 5 different Webley pops for these giveaways throughout the year. And already this is the second one because we did have the camo jersey one that we talked about a week or two ago on the podcast. And this one's pretty cool, I guess. I'm liking the way that the green and the blues go together in this Aqua Sox jersey. So it's not that bad of a pop.
Okay, starting off with the Space Jam Pops. Yeah, this two pack is kind of interesting. I'm glad that it's an exclusive and not commons because I feel like these would potentially be shelf sitters at a normal location, just if it was all over the place rather than just being at Target. But they are pretty cool, and I'm interested in seeing what the scene is like with these. And then we have, I believe you called him Dom. This is cool. I guess the chase is definitely a lot better. I do agree that with the common, there is just a lot of black going on with that. But I'm also pretty excited for this movie, so it's interesting to me. Iron Man. This is pretty damn cool. This is sweet. I love that it's glow in the dark. I'm intrigued why, because it looks, at least from the glam shot, that those kind of mechanical parts that are yellow will be glow in the dark. And I'm kind of wondering why that is. Maybe it's just so that it's not only the blue eyes and the blue on the chest that's glow in the dark, just to give it a little more depth as a pop. But I don't think that needs to be glow in the dark, but it might also end up looking pretty cool. Overall, this is a pretty sweet pop, and I could see it definitely selling very, very well. The new Coke can. This is interesting. I mean, I get it. It makes sense. And it's kind of cool looking. I like how you kind of have the rainbow colors for the logo, especially with Pride Month and everything, even though it's not really a Pride pop at all. But it's decent. I guess I'm not a huge fan of it. I mean, I'm already having a tough time with the Foodies pops. And then when we're starting to get some variants of some pops that are just something we've seen before, but just a little different, I'm not really a huge fan. But then again, I guess it's kind of hard to make a Foodies pop without it just being, like I've been saying recently with Foodies pops, where it's just a food item with arms and legs. So it's not terrible, I guess. The Blue Raspberry Sour Patch Kid Diamond Collection. I'm going to have to see this in person because personally, I think that the original Sour Patch Kids look fine the way they are. I really enjoyed how those pops turned out. I'm interested in seeing how good this looks. Either it'll look really awesome or I'm going to hate it. Then moving on to the retro Star Wars pops. These are amazing. I love these. So the first thing I'm going to say is I wish that these were art series pops. Or maybe not that I wish that these were art series pops, but I wish this is what art series pops looks like. But these are great. I love the Stormtrooper, how he kind of has that blue tinge, because in the comic books, that's kind of what they look like. They're not really white in the comic books. They're kind of a little bit more of that baby blue color. And I do agree that it's weird seeing Luke with the red lightsaber, but on a lot of those old comic books, he had a red lightsaber, so it makes sense. The Darth Vader also looks really cool. I love how they did the colors on the eyes. And again, it looks super accurate to the comic books. I own a lot of the comic books, so this is something I kind of know, I guess. And then we have C3PO, and that is easily my favorite one out of this. I know you said that it was your least favorite, but I really like it in the fact that it is like a matte colored pop, but because of the way they kind of do that shading, it almost looks like it's chrome, just kind of like the comic books again. So I think the C3PO is my favorite, and overall, these are awesome. I hope we see some more in the future for Star Wars. The new pop for the Bounty Hunter collection with IG-88. This is cool. I'm really liking this. I think it was kind of a given that we would see IG-88, and here he is. I don't think it's my favorite out of this set. I think maybe I like it better than the Boba Fett, but I don't think I like it better than the Bosk. But we got 4 more to go, and hopefully we see some pretty cool stuff in the future. And then we have another pop for the Victory Shawarma, and we have Captain America. This is great. Like you said, he's got a full table full of food, and I think that really makes the pop better than some of the other ones besides the Bruce Banner. But this one's cool. I'm really excited once they're all out to see what it all looks like, because I'm sure it will look really cool together, and maybe those pops that aren't so interesting on their own will look better when they are placed in the set. Then we have the Nomad Steve Rogers and the World War II Ultimates Captain America. I'm kind of going to talk about these together because I feel like Captain America is slowly becoming the new Batman of Funko, where it seems like almost every pod there's a new Captain America pop. I'm kind of sick of seeing Captain America already, but these two pops are pretty decent, I suppose. But I just hope we don't see a whole lot more of Captain America for a while. I know with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I mean, we're kind of seeing Captain America's there. So it makes sense why we're seeing them, but I'm just kind of already tired of it. Diamond Collection Waving Pikachu. Yeah, we kind of knew that we were going to get something like this. I'm glad they went with this pose and not the original one, like you had said. This is all right. I think this will probably be the best diamond collection. I mean, it would be cool if we had like a pop similar to, let's say, like Magnemite or Magneton, and then have that be diamond collection, so he's kind of shiny. But then they could just do metallic, and then I don't know. Diamond collection just doesn't make sense for almost anything, in my opinion, nowadays. So I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. The medieval pop, this is interesting. I really like this pop design. I mean, it's so different than a lot of the stuff we see, and that makes stuff original. This looks great. I've never played this game, nor have I really heard of it, I don't think. So I'm kind of interested to check it out now because this character is pretty damn cool. Up next is Sly Cooper, and this is definitely a character I do know of, and this is very awesome. I love how he's kind of posed on the tip of that post. It looks great. I mean, it's really good head sculpt. The body sculpt is also amazing. Just the way they posed it, I don't think they could have done a better job. I'd like to maybe see this flocked one day. I think that would be really cool. And I would like to also see the other characters from Sly Cooper. I can't remember their names, but there's like a, if I'm not mistaken, it's like a turtle and a hippo are kind of like his sidekicks. I could totally be wrong about that, but I think that's what it is. And I would love to see those, even if they're in a 2-pack. That'd be cool to go along with the Sly Cooper pop, which I'm definitely going to be copping out for. Then we have the games covers pops. These are so cool. I'm so happy about this game covers thing. I'm almost more excited for these than the pop album covers that we had been seeing for the past year now, I guess. These are great. I'm really excited about the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 one. I think this turned out pretty damn good. That cover is already so amazing, and then kind of turning it into pop form in a sense turned out really good. This is an awesome pop. And then we have Halo, which is one of my favorite games of all time. I think it may be the first ever game that I had beaten as a kid. This is awesome. I would have loved to see this be, as much as it's weird to say because I normally don't say things like this, I would have loved to see this be a metallic pop because Master Chief is so shiny in that game cover that it makes the pop in the front look a little weird, but I will definitely be getting this. I'm going to be getting probably all of the game covers pops, and I'm really interested to see what number 2 is, I think, or is it number 3 that we haven't seen?
It's funny that you mentioned that because I totally forgot about that. And I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to mention that. But you brought it up. Yeah. So it is number 3 because number 1 is Sonic 2. Number 2 was the Witcher one we talked about last week. There's not a number 3, and this Master Chief one is number 4.
So, that being said, my theory would be awesome if it came true. And I believe and hope, I guess, that game cover number 3 will be for Gears of War 3. I think that's the best cover for that game. Well, for that franchise of games, I guess. And it would just make sense to have Gears of War 3 be the third pop for the game covers. And I can't wait to see what else we get out of this. I hope we get a whole lot more of this. And then we have Webley. There's not a whole lot I can say about this pop. I kind of wish now that we know that there will be 5 of these pops that they kind of got announced all at the same time. I get why they're getting announced one at a time, but I'm kind of already sick of talking about this guy because it's just not something I'm interested in. But I do think this one is a lot better than the last one we talked about with the camo. I think the white pants look really good, and they really pop when you have that kind of dark blue, dark purple with the green shirt, which I think looks really, really great.
All right, so now we're going to move on to San Diego Comic-Con 2021 predictions. Now, if you're a regular subscriber to the channel, you guys would know that we had released a San Diego Comic-Con 2021 Funko Pop and Soda predictions video this past Monday on the channel, but however, it was only DK Wrestler, who was doing the predictions for that video. So essentially, this is going to be MD's predictions for Funko Pop predictions. Unless you wrote Soda also, then that's totally fine, but I assume it's just Pop's predictions for San Diego Comic-Con 2021, considering that we are now in the month of June, and usually it's around mid to late June that we get those San Diego Comic-Con announcements. So we are fastly approaching San Diego Comic-Con. MD, what's your predictions for San Diego Comic-Con 2021?
So first on my list, kind of sticking with the theme of Sonic the Hedgehog, who we just had talked about, I have, wait for it, Knuckles the Echidna. It's time. It's time we get a new Knuckles pop. I mean, I would love to own that original one because that's a pretty damn cool pop. But that pop came out so long ago, back in the what could I call it? I guess like the Depression era of Funko, I guess you could say, where pops just did not look that good, unfortunately. And now a new Knuckles sculpt would just be phenomenal. I think it would look so great. And there's a lot of different like kind of poses you could do with them now, rather than just standing there like all the other pops back in the day looked like. I really, really hope we see a Knuckles coming up in a couple of weeks. And then it wouldn't be really MD Shady or an MD Shady list without an ad icon on it. So I think it's time for the Nesquik Bunny to finally be released. I mean, it's got to happen eventually, and I couldn't think of a better time than San Diego Comic-Con. And let's hope it's flocked. That'd be really, really cool. And then this one's kind of an odd one. I don't know. Okay, no pun intended on that either. It's Fairly Odd Parents. I don't know if this will happen, but I feel like at some of the past cons, especially some of the big ones like New York or San Diego, we've been seeing some Nickelodeon pops. I think it's about time for some Fairly Odd Parents pops. What we see, that's kind of the question. I mean, Timmy Turner, obviously, we want to see, but I feel like we also want to see Cosmo and Wanda. So if we could get a Timmy Turner standalone pop and then a 2-pack of Cosmo and Wanda, I would be more than happy with that. I feel like we'd probably just be seeing either Cosmo and Wanda or just Timmy Turner, though. And then I didn't write a pop for this one. I just wrote Bad Batch. I feel like there will be some kind of Bad Batch pop for the Star Wars pops that they do. I know that usually at a lot of cons, there's 1 or 2 Star Wars pops usually at each con. So I feel like there's a lot that they could do with Bad Batch, especially like we said earlier, how there's going to be 16 episodes. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different characters that come out or characters that are already in the series who we haven't seen in pop form. And I think San Diego Comic-Con would be a cool time to have a neat exclusive that I think would probably end up being pretty expensive. And then my last prediction is a 2-pack. And I guess it's kind of going with the theme again, where it wouldn't really be me if I didn't predict pops for The Simpsons. Now, recently in these predictions, I've been saying, oh, it's going to be Smithers. I'm like, oh, it's going to be Smithers. Why haven't we seen Smithers? But I changed it up this time. And back in 2019, we saw the King and Kodos. So I went with a 2-pack, and that is Patty and Selma. I think that would be a really great 2-pack. And I think that's kind of pops that would have to be exclusive to a con. So I hope we see those then. Just like all of the pops on my list, if even 2 or 3 of these end up getting announced at San Diego Comic-Con, I would be ecstatic.
All right, guys. So that is going to be the end of this week's podcast. If you enjoyed this week's podcast, make sure you smash that like button, comment in the comments section below, and let us know your predictions for San Diego Comic-Con 2021 and your opinions of some of these Funko Pops that were announced this past week. Press that subscribe button for more content like this podcast and any other videos we do on this channel in the future, and press the little bell beside it to be notified of when that future content gets released. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at a Funko Popcast. It'll be listed in the description below. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening to this week's podcast, and we hope to see you guys next week on a Funko Popcast. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.
Peace in, peace out.